Welcome to my unit on quadratics with technology. I am Jeremy Barber, and I will present my unit to you. First off, the problem with my class, my Algebra 2 class, is that the grades are not where I want them to be. These are my grades from last year for my quadratics test. Obviously, most of the grades were D's, sprinkled in with some A's and F's and average of C's. I'd like to see more B's and C's rather than D's, so that is my focus this year, is to improve those scores. Another big problem is most of the students lack the knowledge of the quadratics. They cover it in Algebra 1 a little bit, but not as in-depth as we do, and they come to Algebra 2 acting like they don't know anything about it. My goal is for them to learn a little bit more about it and to retain it for the ACT. Also, most students are not using the technology to their advantage. One easy way of solving a quadratic is graphing it and finding the x-intercepts. That is, to me, the easiest way to solve a quadratic, and that's the way I tell them to use on the ACT to save them some time rather than factoring or using the quadratic formula. Also, they come to Algebra 2 not knowing how to use the calculator to its full ability. So my goal this year is to show them how to use the TI Inspire on the iPad so that they can have a multiple arrangement, a multiple variety of tools to help solve a single problem. For my needs analysis, like I said, a lot of them don't know the basics of quadratics. They lack the motivation. Our population has an overwhelming amount of kids who do not have the motivational level they need to succeed in high school. We do have some kids that are motivated, and obviously they do well, get the A's and B's, but we have an average grade in our math classes of around D+, which is not what we want to have. Another big thing I hear is parents at conferences, they tell me, they could help their student up until 8th grade. Once they got into 9th grade, they don't know how to do the math. So the kids can't go home and rely on their parents to help them with their homework. So that's another big weakness we have. Also, we don't have many manipulatives except this year and last year. All the students got iPads, so we have a 1-to-1 ratio. Each kid is allowed to take their iPad home every day and bring to class every day, and we expect them to. So that is our new manipulative to use in class, and it seems like a good idea, and it really is, but it's pretty hard to use in a math class. I can see how to use an English class easily, but math class, not as easy. Also, the big thing we've learned over the last 2 years is that students lack self-control. They want to play games. They haven't blocked the games on the iPads, so that's something I got to teach them. We got to teach them as teachers, but that's also a big problem we have. A normal day in my class is we use these tools right here. First thing is Blackboard. Blackboard is a website just like VSpace, like we use for our Saginaw classes. We adapted it last year for the iPads, and this year I'm putting all my notes on there, all my homework. We can take quizzes on there. We can do a lot on there. Almost 90% of our classes are using Blackboards. It is a way for students who are absent to get the work they missed, and in a little bit I will show you an example of my Blackboard. Another big thing this year is SBL, stands for Standards-Based Learning. If you haven't heard about it, we take the Common Core state standards and break it into our own student-friendly words, our own standards, and then we choose these ones called critical standards and non-criticals. Students must pass the critical standards to pass the class. So what that means is if a kid fails a critical standard quiz throughout the unit and they end up getting a B+ in the class, I have to give them an F because they failed that critical standard. So that is what SBL is. I like the way it works. Obviously, if a kid fails a standard quiz or a critical standard, we have to give them some retakes, reassessments. So we allow them to do requizzes after they do additional homework. We also allow them to prove themselves on the test. Type of technologies I use on a daily basis are iPads with Apple TV. We have Apple TV in each room. That allows us to connect our iPads to our smartboard, as well as each student to connect theirs so they don't have to get up from their seat. We also have a smartboard that I use every day. Have my flip charts, kind of like a PowerPoint on there. One app that I've grown fond of is ScreenShop. It's kind of like an interactive whiteboard. Students are able to record their work as they work, and they can do a voiceover. It's just a blank whiteboard. I also like to use it as, let's do a quick problem, hold your answer up on your whiteboard using ScreenShop. There's also other apps out there, EduCreations, Show Me, similar apps. Another big thing we're using is TI Inspire. We got a great deal on it last year. It is a $30 app. It is pretty much a TI calculator. We got them for $5. So every student in the math department all have the TI Inspire, and I like to use it on a daily basis because kids don't know how to use it. Also, Prezis. Prezis are interactive PowerPoints. I like to use them. They're very friendly with equations, so that's why I like to use it. Type on PDF is an app that we use so that students can download their notes from our Blackboard and then write over them, annotate over them, type over them. We upload them as PDF, so we need Type on PDF so that they can take their notes over top of them. And lastly, Socrative Clicker is an app I'll show you later, but it's an app where I can put quizzes on there or quick formative assessments, some questions, multiple choice, fill in the blank, short answer, real quick. Kids can take it from their desk. So it's real quick, neat app. If you haven't used it, you should check it out. So here's some examples I have. I want to show you a ScreenShop that I made last year. It's the only one that I had on me at the time. Just takes a second to load up here. So like I said, ScreenShop is just a blank whiteboard, but you can put pictures on there, and then you can write on it and then talk over as you're writing. So this is an example I did. I had the kids go home, do their homework, and then in addition choose one problem, or I assigned them one problem to make a ScreenShop video of. That way when they come to class next day and so doesn't know how to do number 7, I can show the ScreenShop video of whoever did number 7. Also, they can email them to me. That way I can check them, see if they're right. I found that after I started doing this, I got a lot more questions. Kids wanted to see if they were correct before they showed their ScreenShop video. So I had students who I've never talked to the entire, semester, quarter. Now they're asking me a million questions. So here is a short video I made about solving tangents.
Hey there, it's Mr. Barber, and it's time to do my tangent homework. Now I went home and I used my iPad to take a picture of a tree that I want to find out the height of. What I do know is that I am currently 27 feet away from the tree. And I used my clinometer that we made in class to measure the angle of elevation, and I found out that it's about 38 degrees. Now I also need to take into account that I am about 6 feet tall. Now, to set up my tangent ratio, we're going to have tangent of the angle 38 degrees equals the opposite, which is almost the height of the tree, part of the height, and we're going to call it x, divided by the adjacent part, which is 27.
So you can finish the video. I'm going to pause it just for time, but that's pretty much what it is. They can record themselves, record what they're writing, and they can email them to me, email them to each other. It's real neat. We've had kids do it for reviews. They like it. I enjoy it. It's not as boring as just solve this problem on a piece of paper. Another thing, like I said, we use Blackboard every day. So let me show you what Blackboard is. So like I said, Blackboard is like VSpace. You log on to this main page. Over here on the right, you have all your classes. I have ones that I'm a teacher as well, so as a student. And over here, you see announcements. So here is my Algebra 2 class. I have all 3 of my Algebra 2 classes tied into one blackboard. That's something that you can do through your ISD. So right now we are working on quadratics. So here's my module 1 for quadratics. I have the outline that they can see, a discussion board where they can post questions, or if we need to discuss something, we can discuss that in there. That way we're not talking out loud. You know, kids have great discussions when they're not afraid to speak. Here is standard 1. Like I said, we broke it into standards. So if a student comes in, they click on this, and right away they can open up the notes, and it'll open up as a PDF on their iPads. So this is what they see. This is what I put on my smartboard. As we go through it, they can write over top of it, and they can take any notes they want. Another thing that I can put on here is quizzes. Let me show you a quiz. So here is the standard 1 quiz. It's all on Blackboard if they want. It is a time quiz, just like you would have taken if you took an online course in college. And it's just simple ABCD questions. There's true and false questions. They can go at their own pace. And it's graded for me. Real neat, real easy to make. Another thing that I have on here is the homework. So right here the kids can download the homework, print it off, or just do it on their iPad and submit it via email. Another thing I have uploaded here is the videos of myself doing the notes in class. That way if students are absent, they can watch the videos, or maybe they dozed off for a second and they missed a part, they can come back and watch the videos. Another thing is the Socrative app I talked about. The cool part about it, they can use it from their iPads or any compatible mobile device, iPhones, iPods, Androids. Here's the website if you want to watch the video on it. It's pretty much you can make quizzes and then you can email the results to yourself, or you can see the results in real time and show the kids. And then lastly, the TI Inspire on the iPad. Here's a picture of my students using it to create spreadsheets. We're using it in statistics to make tables, bar graphs, box and whisker graphs, circle graphs, dot plots, all sorts of stuff. Real neat app. So when I went to go implement, or when I will implement this unit, here's how the daily lesson will be planned out. Lesson opener with a warm-up or a video of some sort. We'll check the homework, watch screenshot videos if we have any, and then quiz on the previous standard. There will be a quiz almost every day if we cover a standard a day. So like I said, there's critical quizzes and non-critical quizzes. Students have to pass the critical one with higher than a 60% to consider passing. They can retake any of the standards as long as we're still working in that unit. So any of the non-criticals have to be retaken before that unit is over. Any of the critical ones, because if they fail the class, they can retake up until the end of the semester. And then we'll learn a new material, a new standard, and do the homework. Evaluations will have standard quizzes on each standard. I could do that on Blackboard. I could do that in class. There is a retake process. We require them to do extra homework, do quiz corrections. I talked about critical versus non-critical, and then I would like to have a pre-test, post-test to look for improvement. Some things I have learned this year. I've already known about the analyzing data. I've just never put it to work. They always talk about it, and we'd always love to do it, but we're always crunching for time in Algebra 2. We usually don't even get to our last unit. But it's something I want to do this year with my quadratics. Give them the pre-test, give them the post-test, see the difference in the grades, compare from last year to this year. Maybe I need to spend more time on a certain topic and less time on this topic because they already know it. That is knowledge that I can gain from that pre-test. If the entire class gets 95% on a certain topic, I don't need to spend that much time on it. Another big thing I learned this year is looking at the target population. Using the screenshot videos, it requires internet. Something I never really thought about. but we also do have our media center open after school, before school, and we have Wi-Fi in the entire school. So if they know they don't have internet, they need to do it before they leave school or stay after and do it. But these are things that I never thought about, coming from a family that always had access to internet. A lot of these students don't have access to internet. Also, like I talked about earlier, the motivational level between our students and their parents. Many of their parents don't come from an education. They don't have college degrees, or maybe they didn't even graduate high school, so they can't help their students with Algebra 2 or with the higher thinking math. So these are things that I have learned and I've thought about finally, and I will definitely implement this year when I do my quadratics unit later on this year. But that is it, and I hope you enjoyed my unit on quadratics with technology.